Judges 7. And Gideon, and all the people who were with him, rose up early, and encamped by the fountain of Karad, so that the camp of Midian was on the north side of them, by the hill of Moreh, in the valley. And Yahuah said to Gideon, The people who are with you are too many for me to give Midian into their hands, lest Yisharal boast against me, saying, My own hand has delivered me. And now proclaim in the hearing of the people, saying, Whoever is afraid and trembling, let him turn back, and leave Mount Gilead. And 22,000 of the people turned back, while 10,000 remained. And Yahuah said to Gideon, The people are still too many. Bring them down to the water, and let me test them for you there. And it shall be, that of whom I say to you, This one goes with you, let him go with you. And of whomever I say to you, This one does not go with you, let him not go. So he brought the people down to the water. And Yahuah said to Gideon, Everyone who laps the water with his tongue, as a dog laps, separate him from everyone who bows down on his knees to drink. And the number of those who lapped, putting their hand to their mouth, was 300 men. And all the rest of the people bowed down on their knees to drink water. And Yahuah said to Gideon, By the 300 men who lapped I save you, and shall give Midian into your hand. Let all the other people go, each to his place. And the people took food and their ram's horns in their hands. And he sent away all the rest of Yisharal, each to his tent, but kept those 300 men. Now the camp of Midian was below him in the valley. And it came to be, on that Lailah, that Yahuah said to him, Arise, go down against the camp, for I have given it into your hand. But if you are afraid to go down, you and Purah your servant, to the camp. And you shall hear what they say, and after that let your hands be strengthened, and you shall go down against the camp. So he went down with Purah his servant to the edge of the armed men who were in the camp, and Midian and Amalek, and all the people of the east, were lying in the valley as many as locusts, and their camels were as numerous as the sand by the seashore. And Gideon came, and see, a man was relating a dream to his companion, and said, See, I had a dream, and see, a loaf of barley bread tumbled into the camp of Midian, and it came to a tent, and smote it so that it fell and overturned, and the tent fell down. And his companion answered and said, This is none else than the sword of Gideon son of Joash, a man of Yisharal. Elohim has given Midian and all the camp into his hand. And it came to be, when Gideon heard this dream related, and its interpretation, that he bowed himself down. And he returned to the camp of Yisharal, and said, Arise, for Yahuah has given the camp of Midian into your hand. And he divided the 300 men into 3 companies, and he put a ram's horn into the hands of all of them, with empty jars and torches inside the jars. And he said to them, Watch me and do likewise. And see, when I come to the edge of the camp, do as I do. And I shall blow the ram's horn, I and all those with me. Then you shall also blow the ram's horns round about all the camp, and say, For Yahuah and for Gideon. And Gideon and the 100 men who were with him came to the edge of the camp at the beginning of the middle watch, as they had but newly posted the watch. And they blew the ram's horns, and broke the jars that were in their hands. And the 3 companies blew the ram's horns, and broke the jars, and held the torches in their left hands, and the ram's horns in their right hands for blowing. And they cried, For Yahuah and for Gideon. And each stood in his place, round about the camp. And all the army ran and cried out and fled. And the 300 blew the ram's horns. And Yahuah set the sword of each one against the other, throughout all the camp. And the army fled to Beit Shittah, toward Sererah, as far as the border of Abel-Mecholah, by Tabath. And the men of Yisharal were called from Naphtali, and from Asher, and from all Manasseh, and pursued Midian. Then Gideon sent messengers throughout all the mountains of Ephraim, saying, Come down to meet Midian, and capture from them the watering places as far as Beit-Barah and the Yarden. So all the men of Ephraim were called and captured the watering places as far as Beit-Barah and the Yarden. And they captured 2 princes of Midian, Oreb and Zeb, and slew Oreb at the rock of Oreb, and Zeb they slew at the winepress of Zeb, while they pursued Midian. And they brought the heads of Oreb and Zeb to Gideon beyond the Jordan.